Right now at noon, the governor says the state of Missouri will carry out Amber McLaughlin's death sentence.
It's a little cooler for us today, and we've got a few clouds on the way. We're going to talk about how cool it'll be this week and if we have any other unsettled weather on the way coming up.
And it's the first day on Capitol Hill for the 118th Congress, and first on the agenda, electing a new Speaker of the House.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Missouri's governor says he will not stop the execution of Amber McLaughlin, a death row inmate scheduled to die by lethal injection tonight. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, without clemency from Governor Parson, McLaughlin will become the first openly transgender woman executed in the United States. A jury convicted McLaughlin, at the time known as Scott McLaughlin, for killing a former girlfriend in 2003. However, it was a judge that sentenced McLaughlin to death after the jury could not agree on the punishment. McLaughlin's attorney says there were no court appeals pending, but an online petition urging the governor to stop the execution had nearly 4,900 signatures as of Monday morning. Now, Missouri is only one of 2 U.S. states, along with Indiana, that allows trial judges to impose death penalty sentences in the event of a deadlocked jury. Amber McLaughlin's execution is scheduled for 6 o'clock tonight. Well, the temps are dropping outside, but not too fast. Chris Warner joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago when we had temperatures drop through the day, it didn't take a day. It took about an hour for them to plummet. And thankfully, we're not seeing that same situation today, but it is getting cooler. Take a look at 7th and Range Line. We got plentiful sunshine out there, clouds off in the distance. We'll start to see those increase a little bit today. MoDOT camera at I-44 and Range Line also looking pretty good. You can see some clear roads, traffic moving right along, and the Skywatch Storm Tracker is clear to go along with all of that. However, our system from yesterday that brought us the strong to severe thunderstorms, even that tornado warning, now well off to our east. We've got a tornado watch spanning from Tennessee back down into Louisiana. They've been dealing with severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings all morning long, and this system will continue to intensify and roll off to the southeast, where they're looking at the severe threat today. Our normal high is 45, our normal low is 26. Now, based on record-keeping purposes, we're not near that high, even though we're in the 40s now. Technically, our high today was about 59 degrees, and that was about 3 o'clock this morning. We are still dropping off, but as you can see, slowly. Not a lot of change since this morning. 40-48 Center, 46 Parsons, 50 Miami, 52 Neosho. As we go through today, this has been adjusted just for us. We're going to make it back down to about 48 by noon. Temperature slowly drop down to 37 by 8 o'clock. Clouds will increase. We'll talk about the week ahead and how cold it's going to get here in just a few minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, Monday's brutal storm system left a trail of damage in the south. It's the same system that brought record rainfall to the west coast. It's not done yet. Janet Shamilan has more from Little Rock.
Light poles snapped in half, bleachers flung from the stands, and a mangled scoreboard. This is the Jesseville High School football field after strong storms and a possible tornado slammed western Arkansas.
Just out of the blue, high winds, awnings begin to blow away. We didn't have any prior warning.
Inside the school, debris littered classrooms as more than 900 students took cover.
Very thankful that we didn't have any injuries. Buildings can be repaired, trees will grow back, things like that.
The storm also slamming Union Parish, Louisiana, where it damaged homes and ripped trees from their roots.
You can see the weather is starting again.
It's the same community still reeling from a series of tornadoes just last month. The system is part of the line of storms delivering record rain to Northern California. Crews there are still in rescue mode this morning after the powerful system flooded streets. Lupe Rodriguez became trapped in her flooded car near Sacramento after going to check on her parents.
My tires were just not that bad. All of a sudden, there's a loop that got me down, and that was it. I was done.
As residents continue the cleanup, they're now bracing for the next one. Officials spent Monday ensuring levees aren't breached again, with more rain expected by Saturday. And the system now heads east through the Rockies, delivering heavy snow and prompting avalanche warnings. Here in Little Rock, they're still dealing with rain, but this system is on the move, now with tornado and flood threats into Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Little Rock.
The suspect in the killing of 4 University of Idaho students is due in a Pennsylvania courtroom this afternoon. The public defender for Brian Kohberger says the 28-year-old will waive extradition at his court hearing today. The suspect in the November killings could then be in Idaho in less than 72 hours to face first-degree murder charges. Law enforcement sources say forensic analysis links him to the crime, but over the weekend, Idaho authorities asked the public to help them understand the motive. Kohberger lives in Washington State, 15 minutes from the home where the 4 victims were stabbed to death. The criminology student was arrested at his parents' home in eastern Pennsylvania on Friday. Well, the 118th Congress is now underway, and the first order of business is to elect a new Speaker of the House. Nicole D'Antonio has the latest from Capitol Hill.
The vote for the next Speaker of the House is expected to take several hours and multiple rounds, as some Republican members remain steadfastly opposed to GOP leader Kevin McCarthy's nomination.
McCarthy, you got the votes yet? Oh, we're going to have a good day today.
A block of the more right-wing Freedom Caucus members have pledged not to vote for McCarthy.
This has gotten down to where it's personal, I think, for some of these members, and that's unfortunate because they weren't sent up here to play out personal grudges and disagreements. They were sent up here to make change in the country, and that can't happen until we have a speaker.
McCarthy has struck deals to win over some supporters, and he met with holdouts Monday night in an attempt to win them over as well.
Well, I'm a business guy back home in Texas, so I'm making resolutions and deals all the time. This is a good time to make a deal, get it done, get sworn in, and let's get going.
But Congressman Scott Perry tweeted that McCarthy wouldn't accept their demands. He finished by saying Kevin McCarthy had an opportunity to be Speaker of the House. He rejected it. The deals McCarthy has struck in his bid to become Speaker of the House may make it harder for him to do the job. One of the concessions is an agreement to make it easier to remove him as Speaker of the House if his party members don't like the job he's doing.
You essentially cut yourself off at your knees on being the Speaker, that you don't have the authority and the ability and the power that goes with the office if you give all that stuff away as part of a negotiation.
With the new Congress comes some new faces in new roles, including Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries of Brooklyn becoming the first African American to lead a major party in Congress. And embattled Long Island Republican George Santos is taking his seat even as he's under scrutiny after admitting much of the biography he presented to voters is false. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Santos could be facing ethics charges once he is sworn in as a new member of Congress. He could also be facing legal problems, including potential fraud charges in Brazil. Well, tonight, lucky players could have a shot at winning what's now the 4th largest jackpot in Mega Millions history. The prize sits at $785 million with a cash option of $395 million. The jackpot has topped $1 billion 3 times, with the latest billion-dollar winning ticket drawn last July. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, a cardiac arrest on the field. We'll have the latest on Buffalo Bills player Damar Hamlin after he collapsed in a mid-game medical emergency. And later, we're making an easy English muffin in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Football fans and many others across the nation are praying for the speedy recovery of Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin after he collapsed on the field last night. Team officials say he is in critical condition. Dan Lieberman has the story.
Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin is sedated and getting treatment at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center after suffering a cardiac arrest during Monday night's game against the Bengals. The 24-year-old suddenly collapsed after making a tackle. Medical personnel rushed to his aid, administering CPR, with the Bills later confirming his heartbeat was restored on the field.
I think people are well aware that we are finished watching football here tonight.
There are about 30 of these cases a year that happen in the United States. They predominantly happen in kids. It happens during Little League Baseball. A ball is thrown by a pitcher and hits the person in the chest. It happens in soccer, where there's something that causes that blunt force trauma. So remarkably rare.
Players on both teams were visibly shaken and gathered to pray on the field. The game was postponed with some fans traveling to the hospital, lighting candles and offering more prayers.
And so everyone here is just hoping that he's okay as a person. It doesn't matter the team.
Hamlin has only been in the NFL for 2 years, but is quickly making his mark.
It's Damar Hamlin, back at the hometown, back at the crib.
His foundation raises money in the Pennsylvania community outside of Pittsburgh, where he grew up.
Loves his family, supported, was engaged in charitable activities well before any of this happened. So that says he is a great kid.
Hamlin's original fundraising goal was $2,500, but following last night's game, donations have topped $3 million and counting.
Wow. NFL has not yet announced when the postponed game will be played. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
If you want to be free, gluten-free that is, then stick around because we've got a tasty idea that you would never expect.
Our temperatures have been slowly dropping through the day. We'll talk about how cool they're going to get this week that we have ahead of us when we come back. Well, we are a little bit cooler today than we were the last few days. We were kind of spoiled the last few days with temperatures even breaking records at some points, reaching up into the 70s yesterday. And technically, today, we started pretty mild. We actually hit an official high of 59 degrees, but temperatures have been falling throughout the day. Thankfully, though, not plummeting. Take a look at 7th and Range Line. Looks absolutely gorgeous out there, and our MoDOT camera at I-44 and Range Line looks pretty good, too. Roads are clear, traffic is moving. It's not a bad day overall. Skywatch Storm Tracker clear to go along with that. Now, yesterday's weather did bring us some severe weather reports. These two blue dots are some hail reports, and the green dots represent some wind reports. And the most interesting one, or the strongest one, was with that tornado-warned storm down in Mayes County, just outside of Adair, where an automated station reported a gust over 80 miles an hour yesterday. Thankfully, we didn't see anything really beyond that. Now that system has moved on off to the east. You can see the number of storm reports that have been left behind as it continues to track off to the south and east. There's tornado watches from Tennessee back down through Louisiana. You can see tornado warnings in Alabama, and you can see severe thunderstorm warnings heading back up into Tennessee. And they've been dealing with that all morning long, and it will continue to intensify as it rolls off into Georgia and the southeast. We're at 50 in Joplin this morning, or this afternoon rather, again after starting at about 59. Southwest breeze at 17, gusting upwards of about 26 miles an hour, and you can see the wind shift out to the west, but you can also see temperatures out west haven't fallen much since this morning. They started out mild too in Yates Center, and they've dropped back about 10 degrees or so, but they've kind of stopped. We're at 44 Yates Center, 43 Iola, 46 Parsons, 50 Chautauqua, Miami, 52 in Neosho, and 51 in Carthage. So we're going to be 48 by 2 o'clock. We're going to continue to fall back through the rest of the day. Clouds will start to increase later this afternoon and into the evening hours, down to 37 by 8 o'clock. And if you're planning an evening out, temperatures gradually again dropping through the evening, back down to 34 by 11 this evening. We should see mostly cloudy skies and just plain old cold conditions. But the good news is, too, the winds will begin to calm down a bit as well, which will be nice. And overnight tonight, we'll drop back down to a low of 32 degrees. But as we head towards sunrise, we'll start to see some of these clouds break up. Now, the future track doesn't really have a whole bunch to show us over the next several days. It's not until Saturday that we actually see an opportunity for some showers and maybe a rumble of thunder or two out there. So let's take a look at that on the 7-day forecast, shall we? We go through the 40s through Thursday, up to 56 on Friday, back down to 47 Saturday. Could see some early day showers, otherwise mostly cloudy. 43 Sunday and back up to 49 on Monday. So these temperatures are above our average, not by a lot, but by a little. And the overnight lows are slightly above or relatively close to average. So yeah, it's cold because we were pretty spoiled over the last few days, but it could be a lot worse for this time of year. So and aside from a few rain chances Saturday, pretty decent forecast ahead of us.
Yeah,
so.
it's a decent week, you know.
Yeah,
chilly nights,
not
but
bad at all.
It's winter. It's January. It's supposed to be cold.
Exactly. Now,
Just
again,
not frigid.
With it being January, it could be a lot colder. So I think we'll take this.
There you go. All right. Thanks, Chris. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Specialist Donald Howard in the U.S. Army. The Joplin native joined the 502nd Army Intelligence Company in 1963. He served in Korea, earning both the Marksmanship Badge and the Good Conduct Medal. To Donald Howard, we thank you, our four-state hero. If you like munching on something with your morning coffee, then stay tuned. Howard shows us how to make an easy English muffin in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Wherever we look, someone is touting a new gluten-free product. You know, if you think about it, 10 years ago, we hardly knew what gluten was, never mind trying to avoid it. Today, restaurants and manufacturers are rushing to tweak recipes and adjust labels to make sure they don't miss out on this multi-billion-dollar gluten-free market. But rather than running to the store to get some off-the-shelf product, what if I told you that you can make freshly baked English muffins right in your microwave that are gluten-free, very low in carbs, and are downright tasty? All we do is mix some almond flour, which is very popular right now, with a bit of gluten-free baking powder. Once combined, we add in some canned pumpkin, a splash of milk, an egg, and a little cinnamon. After this is smooth, we spoon it into a shallow microwavable soup bowl and pop it in the microwave for 2 to 3 minutes or until the center is set. That's all there is to it. When it cools, we have single-serve freshly baked treats that are full of flavor, not gluten. Now we can serve this up in place of our old standby hamburger bun without all the guilt, or toast it and it's just as welcome with a Rise and Shine breakfast. I do hope you'll go online and get the recipe for what we call Easy English Muffin, which is low in carbs and gluten-free. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a healthier way for many of you to say, ooh, it's so good.
We can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our four-state market prices.
Temperatures continue to fall back to the 40s today, down to 32 for a low. The 40s tomorrow and Thursday, up to 56 Friday, maybe some morning showers on Saturday, 43 on Sunday, and then back up to 49 by next Monday. So cooler than where we have been, but not too bad otherwise.
Not bad at all.
All right, what do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, we're going to learn more about what caused Buffalo Bills defensive back Damar Hamlin to collapse on the field during last night's game against the Bengals. Plus, changes to Social Security for 2023 as recipients see an increase, but that could be a larger tax bill. And Joplin city officials are asking for bids to create a homelessness strategic plan. Hope you'll join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
All right. Thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.